Coach, you're taking a look at the guards here for the 2018-19 season preview. Obviously, when you talk about that group, it all kind of starts with Cornelius Taylor, the lone returning starter from the 2017-18 season. He's obviously getting a lot of love, preseason All-American in 2 polls and preseason All-SAC first team. So talk about the expectations for you, for Cornelius, and for him that he's placing on himself.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I think it's certainly a different role. There'll be some challenges with that. What I've tried to do with him always, and not just him, but all our guys, you kind of distill things down to what's most important. And to me, when you look at Cornelius, I want him to do 2 things. I want him to compete, and I want him to, make the right plays. I think those 2 things. If he just competes as hard as he can every single night and he makes the right plays, then he's going to be fine. He's so gifted. He's such a passionate player. He's an unbelievable competitor. He's got worlds of talent. He can do a lot of different things. Obviously, a tremendous 3-point shooter. He's a jet. He can get to the rim. But it is different when you go. The previous 2 years, he's been on really good teams, and he's been a piece of those teams. But it's a little different when you're the first guy in the scouting report. You draw the other team's best defender. People are going to try to take you away. We call it gravity. He's going to have a lot of gravity in terms of people really paying attention to him, looking at him, and he's going to draw a lot of attention. And he's got to be willing at times to do stuff that maybe he's not going to be validated in the box score, where he's coming off and they're maybe trapping him on the ball, and he has to, hit the roll, and we make a play opposite, and we get a wide open 3, and he generated that, but there's no box score validation for it, right? So he's a guy that I think has a chance to really, have a great year. He works so hard. He's in the gym constantly. I think he's made improvements from last year to this year. He's taken a big jump in his game, and so he was already, in my opinion, an elite defender. And now, we've seen, I think, his jump shot, the consistency's improved, and where I think he's making improvements and still needs to is in his rim read, as he attacks the paint and draws defenders, what's the right play. And he's really taking that to heart, trying to understand and make better decisions, because offensively, he'll play on the ball, he'll play off the ball, but regardless of where he plays, he's our catalyst, right? I mean, he's got to get that blender going, get things started, touch paint and make plays, and we're going to, run a lot of our offense through him. But that being said, we can't leave him out to dry and put the entire burden on his shoulders. But for him, that's what I want to do, focus on competing as hard as he can and making the right play. And the rest, I think, when you're as talented as he is, will take care of itself.
A little bit better from a veteran, or I guess an experienced standpoint with the guards, in terms of you got 2 other guys who made at least 20 appearances last year, in T.J. Harvin and Alex Dolling. I've heard a lot about Alex Dolling's kind of improvement this summer, so talk about him and kind of how you expect his role to play out this year.
Well, I think both those guys are significantly better, probably just comfortability in the system. Alex is a guy that is a good player. Obviously, he's an elite shooter. He just didn't get much of an opportunity last year. When you look at the guys who were ahead of him, it was hard to get minutes outside of those top 7 guys. But I think he probably made it somewhere, off the top of my head, somewhere close to 43s and shot over 40% from 3. He had success when he got opportunities, just wasn't readily available. But he's changed his body. I think he's gotten quicker. He's gotten more athletic. Like most guys, as they get in and there's some continuity, they get comfortable inside the system, figuring out where to attack. And he's a guy that complements the other guys really well because of his ability to shoot. He's got almost unlimited range. You talk about with Jalen Steele that they skewed the chessboard, right? Because Jalen could step out 5-6 feet beyond the 3-point line and make them with regularity, and that does really mess up the chessboard defensively when you got to get out to somebody that far away. And Alex brings that to the table for us. And I think TJ is another guy that just is a tough, smart guy, and you win a lot of games with that. He's not an unbelievable athlete. He's not huge, from a size standpoint. He's not a jet. He's just a really good player, solid, competes, dependable. We always talk about, best ability is dependability, and TJ is rock solid, whether he's playing, 30 minutes or 30 seconds. He's ready to go. He shows up every day. He's unbelievably conscientious about his work. Great competitor, tough as nails, and like I said, highly intelligent, really cut from that same kind of cloth as a Cam Calhoun, Paul Woodson, guys that, are not extraordinary in terms of their, you look at them and just say, oh my God, they're just oozing with talent, but they are just so just locked in and really committed to the team. That it really, I think, they're how they play certainly is greater than what you would think their talent level is. They're guys that are better than what they were blessed with.
So then, after those three guys, really, it's a lot of new faces. It does feel like you have a lot of depth with that group, though. So maybe talk about some guys who have really emerged this preseason that should play a factor in that rotation.
Well, I think Cam Henry is a redshirt freshman out of Virginia, 6'5", really versatile, can do a lot of different things on both ends of the floor, and he can play make. He's a good passer. He's got defensive versatility at 6'5". He kind of fits that swing bucket, but he can step out and shoot the ball and rebounds at a good level. So Cam's a guy we expect to have a significant impact. Anthony Brown, point guard, that transferred in from Indian River Junior College, is a guy that we hope again can give us a significant contribution. He's played last year and played Division I the year before at Wisconsin Green Bay. So he's experienced, not experienced in our system, but has experience in general. He's quick. He's a guy that will run the show for us. I think he'll play with the ball in his hands a lot, but he's a guy that can make others better. I think he's a guy that, like Scoot, can get in the lane. He's more of a pass-first guy. He doesn't have that scoring mentality or ability that Scoot does, but he's a guy that's a really good player. Julius Brown, another kid out of Ohio, is true freshman. He'll play some minutes for us. Julius is probably as fast a player as we've had in the program since I've been here. He's a guy that really creates havoc defensively. He's a guy that really capable shooter. I think he's a guy that as he gets acclimated, he'll score because he really can make shots and he gets by with regularity. And as he understands how to play once he gets by, and we talk about those rim reads, and as he gets comfortable making decisions, I think he's a guy that'll have a significant impact. And then another guy is Kavasier McCauley out of Indiana. Big, strong swing in the same mold as a Cam Henry, as a kind of a Cam Calhoun, and even Xavier Bledson. Those guys that are in that 6'5" range that kind of can play up and down to the 4 and even play down to the 2. So, but Cavasier's got just an innate ability to score the ball. He can do it at all three levels. He gets the rim. He gets fouled. He can make mids. He's got good range and good three-point shooter. He's got to figure out, like all the young guys do, and all these guys we're talking about. I mean, Cam Henry's been here, so he's got a leg up. But the rest of those guys, figure out, what we're doing systematically on both sides of the ball and get comfortable inside of our system. But I think, we're obviously going to be a work in progress. But those guys all have a lot of talent. I expect all of them to help us and impact us in a positive way this year.
It does kind of feel like, it's obviously hard to predict how that rotation is going to look in February or so, but it does feel like you're probably going to have to rely a lot more on that group of guards. Do you kind of see this group as kind of how this team and what's going to lead this team forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll be evenly balanced. I mean, I think we've been really fortunate and this stat you may know better than I would. I think we've had 4 all-league players the last 8 years. And I think 4 guys selected all-conference 8 years in a row. And so we don't have 4 all-league players in this team. We're not as top-heavy as we've been, but I do think we have as many good players as we've ever had. So I think the strength of the group is going to be the amount of good players that we have. And that's, we'll certainly be times, as we have in the past, we'll play small and play 4 guards around a big, or even at times we may go with, a Calhoun or a Bledson at the 5 and play really 5 guards. We did with Dorian these last few years. So they're going to have to be good for us. But, like I tell them all the time, I mean, they just got to do what they do well. We in our program, we're constantly, particularly these young guys, soar with your strengths. Do what you do well, and if you bring value to winning, you impact winning, you're going to get opportunity. We don't need them to do anything outside of what they're capable of. Just be committed to trying to soar with your strengths, do what you do best, and they'll go in and perform. But we're going to certainly need those guys to be really good for us to have a chance to have a good year.
All right, so then when you talk about the guards, and obviously these are guys that are kind of combo guys that talking about versatility, can swing both ways as either guards or forwards. But we're going to put them in the guard preview and talk about obviously Cam Calhoun, one of the returning talents from last year, played a big role in the team, and then a freshman coming in Xavier Bledson. So how do you see those two guys kind of impacting the team in different ways?
Well, Cam's an experienced guy. You know, he's a redshirt junior, been here, played a significant role for us last year. You know, and really came up big, and you know, certainly the conference championship game at Furman against Queens, and had some really good moments throughout the year. Some significant, you know, impacted winning in a lot of ways throughout the year, and really did it in some of our bigger games. So we expect a lot from Cam. You know, he's a guy that's a really sound defender. Knows how to play. He's a guy that understands the game at a high level, a lot like we talked about with TJ. You know, really tough, really smart, great competitor. Shows up, does it every single day. Is not a guy who's looking for a lot of acclaim. Just kind of does his work, goes about his business. But he's dependable, and you know what you're going to get from him every single night. And we've had a lot of stars here over the years, but I think you know the key to the success has always been built in the backs of guys like Cam Calhoun, and he's going to have to do a lot for us. He's going to play really probably anywhere from 3 and 4 positions, you know, and then obviously slide up at times when we go small to the 5, and so he'll have a lot on his plate, but he's more than capable of handling that and understanding the different positions and what he needs to do defensively. And then, like I said, he's a highly intelligent player. So with Xavier, new to the program. Is a guy that we think has a bright future. You know, he's got a long way to go and a lot of growth, just like all the other freshmen do, particularly these true freshmen. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of growth ahead for these guys, but he brings a really unique skill set, almost like a Dorian Pinson in the sense that in terms of his playmaking ability at 6'5", kind of a point forward. He needs to certainly, like I said, he needs to understand what we're doing on both ends of the floor, and he needs to get more committed on the glass. There's areas where, like I said, he's going to have to improve, but he's a guy that works out. He wants to be good. He makes other guys better. He's a terrific ball handler. He's a guy that can step out, shoot the 3, and he probably is as good as we have in terms of once he attacks the rim, of getting in there and making the right play. So we expect both those guys to you know, play. Obviously, Cam has to be good for us to have a good year. He's one of those guys going to have a lot of responsibility, but Xavier's in that same boat as well. You know, we're going to need everybody to perform and do what they do well to have a chance to have the type of year we hope to have.